In the city of Gateway, on a night when the moon was veiled behind clouds, chaos was brewing. It's not the usual kind kept at bay by police sirens or crime-fighting regiments, no. This was something stranger and far more dangerous. When the first alarms rang at Stark Enterprises' West Branch, it was unclear what kind of threat could have triggered every sensor between the loading dock and the rooftop helipad. Reports came in, garbled and panicked, of a red mountain tearing through reinforced doors, and security feeds soon went black, the only evidence a blurry crimson blur. General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, though not quite himself, marched through the halls as Red Hulk, every stride cracking marble tiles. There was a reason he stood apart from his raging green counterpart. Method met brutality here. Ross wasn't in a blind rage. He was on a mission. Word of the incursion spread with the urgency of wildfire. Canary, otherwise known as Dinah Lance, was in town on Justice League business. When the distress call landed in her communicator, she didn't hesitate. Outfitted in black leather, golden hair trailing behind her, she arrived at the shattered entrance, measuring the scene with a practiced eye. The metal detectors didn't so much as chirp as she strode in. They lay in crumpled piles at her feet. In the main corridor, Red Hulk's colossal form was visible above the debris. His command presence filled the room. In one hand, he held an experimental reactor core, wrenched from its moorings. The room seemed to shrink beneath his glare. Dinah moved like a shadow across the marble, unfazed by the carnage. "You know," she called out, steeling her resolve, "if you wanted a tour, you could have asked." Ross barely glanced her way. "No time for jokes, Canary." "Out of my way," Dinah exhaled softly. For a moment there was silence, then she struck, her voice building with controlled power. The first canary cry was precisely calibrated, sound waves splintering tile and vibrating through air at supersonic speed. Red Hulk recoiled, muscles tensing as the blast buffeted him. He steadied his grip on the reactor and, with a sneer, dug his heels in. "You think yelling is going to stop me?" he growled, voice rumbling like an avalanche. But Dinah was already on the move. She knew throwing herself at a Hulk was suicide. Ain't. Her advantage was agility, unpredictability, and, most of all, her training. While Ross swung the reactor like a sledgehammer, she ducked, sidestepped, twisted, always just out of reach. Her next scream was sharper, rising in pitch. Overhead lights exploded in showers of sparks. Glass spiderwebbed and chunks of drywall tumbled. Red Hulk staggered, momentarily disoriented, dropping the reactor with a thunderous clang. But Ross gathered himself, red energy coursing just beneath his skin. He lunged, and this time he caught her almost. Dinah rolled between his legs, planting a volley of precise kicks to his knee. He didn't flinch, but lost balance for just a second. That was all she needed. Drawing a breath, digging from the pit of her resolve, she let loose the loudest canary cry she could muster. This time, even Red Hulk couldn't ignore it. The noise bored brutally into his skull, a pressure building behind his eyes. He roared and swung, barely missing her, demolishing a support column instead. They squared off again, both breathing hard, though Ross's injuries were superficial. And Dinah could already feel her throat begin to raw from exertion. "This isn't your fight, Lance," Red Hulk said, voice softer, almost a warning. "You don't know what I'm after? You're threatening a city for an answer you already have," she replied, circling. "That reactor's not your salvation, Ross." Pause. Neither the military man nor the crime fighter willing to back down. From the corner of her eye, Dinah spotted what she needed. The fire suppression system, still miraculously intact. She launched herself at a control panel, while Red Hulk charged, and slammed her fist into the emergency override. A roaring deluge of cold CO2 foam blasted from the ceiling, filling the chamber with a blinding fog. For anyone else, this would mean confusion and panic. For Dinah, it was purchased seconds. She inhaled sharply and aimed her last, desperate cry. The sonic wave cut through the mist, targeted directly at Ross's ears. He grunted, staggered, reactor slipping from his massive hands. Her gamble paid off. The reactor, now dislodged, skidded across the floor, crashing into a containment wall where it locked back into its safety cradle. Red Hulk hesitated. The foam obscured his sight. The screaming in his head subsided just enough for clarity. He stopped, heartbeat thundering. Dinah slowly straightened, coughing, voice ragged. Can break walls, Ross, but that's not what fixes things. He regarded her, respective grudging, in his crimson eyes. Then, as suddenly as he'd arrived, he launched himself through the damaged skylight, vanishing into the night air. Dinah lingered, watching the moon as the emergency beacons started to flicker. Around her, chaos, but also quiet victory. For tonight, sound had beaten strength. But both had learned something from the clash knot. Every fight is about who comes out on top, but who stands their ground when it counts.